The third biannual sculpture at Bathers was opened with a welcome to country by Noongar elder Marie Taylor. To the more than 80 participating artists, volunteers, invited guests and patrons.
Nalak Jurupan, we are happy, Nonachinangan, to see you. Nalak Waranka, we sing, Wanju, welcome.
Tonight is the Artist's Night, and this evening is for you to enjoy the culmination of your efforts. It's the sort of show that's all about cooperation and camaraderie.
Set up in 2013 and driven by the vision and passion of one of Perth's most distinguished artists, the wonderful Tony Jones, OAM. Its aspiration is high and quite simple, given the range and quality of the work here. As Tony Jones states, we want visitors to leave Bathers Beach knowing there is something special about Western Australian sculpture. This I think you will do by the end of the evening and beyond, together with the sheer enjoyment of interacting with contemporary art and artists. So congratulations to Tony Jones and his team, and best wishes for the success of this event, which is now finally opened.
Guest artist Cameron Robbins sounded the start of the two-week event on the fractal horn, and no one for several kilometres around was in any doubt something big was underway at Bathers Beach. Cameron's piece, Anemograph, continues his interest in the interaction between the artist and the environment.
Actually, this piece started up on a mountain in central Victoria, in fact, yeah. And I made a prototype that was a bit smaller and quite light. You know, you get one person who could carry it. And it also has a light on the end of the tail, and you can do a long exposure photograph with it in the landscape. When the wind blows, it sort of makes a drawing on a long exposure photograph.
This series of photos illustrates that light drawing, and were included in the exhibition along with several of Cameron's smaller pieces.
Quite often as an artist you're working in isolation. At an exhibition like this, you're with a whole bunch of other people, so you get to see other people and how they might work. How does that affect you as an artist?
Oh, I just stay awake for a few nights, sweating, before the exhibition. Wake up weeping, question my entire life and career, and then then the opening, it's all fine.
So you're happy to be here then?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah, it's been great. I'm really being looked after in Freo, and such a great creative community here. We've got this amazing Kidogo studio and art gallery. It's just an incredible place, and yeah, loving it.
For the 2017 event, there are 5 display zones: Bathers Beach, the environs of Kidogo Art House, the gallery itself, the dunes near the Roundhouse, and the home of the principal sponsor, the Esplanade Hotel Fremantle by Ridges. Tom de Monk Kerkmere created this piece at Little Creatures Brewery as an artist in residence over 5 days in the period leading up to the exhibition.
Claire, I would have thought that a brewery is an unusual space for an artist in residence. How did that work out for you?
It worked great. We have always had a pretty strong connection to the artist community here in Fremantle. So having an artist in residence here was perfect and fit in with what we're all about. Actually, to be honest, some of the people walked by and didn't even notice because they're so used to seeing things like that in there. And it wasn't until the way out that they were like, oh, what are you doing here? So, yeah. Pretty normal.
You'd think that this is something that Little Creatures would do on an ongoing basis with sculpture?
I would have him here every weekend if he was up for it. But yes, definitely for the next sculptures.
Not hiding in the dunes because they're more than 3 metres high are these markers by an artist who spent a lifetime on the sea.
It's a sculptural interpretation of the things I'm used to seeing. I am a sailor and I've spent 50 years on the water or more, 60. That form is somewhat embedded in my memory and consciousness. Just adjacent to us here, there are 2 lighthouses, and they are red, green and red, marking the entrance to the Fremantle port. There's a whole field of lights out offshore here.
And I imagine that after 60 years on the ocean, these lights are a great comfort to you.
They're always good to see, but they were always a comfort. Yeah, they were. If you approached the back end of Rottnest at night,
The first inkling locals got that something was afoot at Bathers Beach was the Follow the Shimmer campaign, involving Susan Flavel's bronze being transported around the district to eventually take up residence at the Esplanade and outside Kidogo. Yes, there are 2 shimmers. Social activities around the exhibition included the VIP reveal on Thursday the 24th of February for sponsors, donors, collectors, artists and invited guests. and the Carnegie Corporate event at Kidogo on the 9th of March. The largest school excursion to sculpture at Bathers was the 70-plus pre-primary kids from North Cottesloe's Wansley Centre, who viewed the exhibition and then set about creating their own mini-sculptures. Look for works available in 2030's exhibition. The range of materials on show in the pieces at Sculpture at Bathers ranged from the traditional bronze of the shimmer to skulls, remnant nets and things of stone and wood.
Pascal, one piece of timber.
It is one piece of timber. I like to work with the identity and the purity of the object and then work with the form and the texture to create the best outcome out of the timber. So I listen to the timber, it tells me which way I want to go and which way it absolutely doesn't want to go, and then it's to go with that and to, it's kind of a relation that we have between the two of us.
Coalface, I love it because it's very Fremantle. You get a bit of everything and a bit of everyone. We had fantastic weather. It brought out a really diverse demographic of people, and I think it brought a lot of people into the city who probably wouldn't normally come in here. And I think it's a good opportunity to acknowledge the local artists. Literally every man and his dog. There were skateboards, there were roller skaters, there were kids, we had school groups, we had the Brethren down here, police, everyone, you name it. It was a great atmosphere.
Oh, what if you go fast? Oh, look at that, the universe is swirling about me.
The term curator comes from the Latin as overseer, manager and guardian, but originally referred to those in charge of minors and lunatics. Angela McHarry likes a challenge.
I often think curating an exhibition is like herding cats.
Not really. As an artist, I think you understand what it's like for the other artists in the show, that the pressures that you're under, and you're more tolerant of the last-minute nature of things, that ideas take time to develop.
And how many pieces are there for this year's exhibition?
There are 86 here at Bathers Beach, and there are another, I think about 30 pieces over at the Esplanade Hotel.
Sculpture at the Esplanade is not a new thing, nor a temporary thing, and manager Blair Wallace has embraced the event in more than one way.
It's started some very good things. We've seen a lot of good media attention come through for being involved with sculptures at Bathers. And the hotel, I suppose, itself has had a bit of history with sculpture, with Tony's Wayfinders in the hotel, and our Atrium restaurant, a number of mobile style art pieces.
Fremantle has long been a haven for artists, and the city a major supporter.
The city supports the arts through quite a number of ongoing programs. We have the Fremantle Arts Centre, of course, which is the city's centrepiece in terms of arts venues. We also have a great public art program which supports a whole lot of fantastic projects like the Rainbow right behind me, and of course Sculpture at Bathers, which the city's been very proud to be a part of since its inception.
And you also have an acquisitions program.
We do. So the city has quite a formidable collection, some 1,300 pieces or just over. It's been running for quite a few decades now, and also includes pieces which I think have been made in response to Fremantle. So it's really quite a significant collection.
And you don't have to go terribly far in Freo to see a sculpture.
You do not. Going back several decades, a lot of them centred around people and are sculptures of people, but of course in recent times that's morphed into a variety of works, and I think that variety of works is reflected in Sculpture at Bathers.
For some patrons of WA sculpture, keeping track of one's collection is not easy.
And have you got any idea how many bits you've got now? Because I've heard a figure.
Yeah, like I think probably, I don't know, 800 or 900 perhaps, or something like that.
That's what I did. Right. And I've got to ask, over the 2 weeks that we've been down, has the collection expanded?
It has grown by a handful, yes.
and of that handful, a favourite piece?
No, look, they're all wonderful pieces, and apart from supporting Sculpture at Bathers, which we bought them because we really like them. So yeah, no. So I wouldn't like to say there's a favourite piece. No.
The 5 figures, what do they represent?
Okay, they represent children that has been born in different environment and how their environment affect them. When you grow up in a violence environment, if you're born in a place that is contamination, you could get disease. That is about how the environment affect you. This was my first time that I am doing like a ceramic thing.
And it's obviously been successful because people are buying them and taking them away.
Yes, yeah, it was really a surprise. I am very glad for that. Yes.
The culmination of the 2-week exhibition was to be the burning of Bruce Abbott's beech trees. But a thunderstorm and heavy rain dampened proceedings. Undeterred, the assembled throng, led by Noongar elder Noel Nannup, celebrated Sculpture at Bathers under a blood-red sky and full moon.